Man, I reckon that drummer's busier than a cat trying to cover crap on a marble floor. Whew! Welcome to Monday's edition of Diddles and Beats, where I answer all of your most pressing percussionary questions. But before we dive into the questions for me, I have a question for you. I got to the studio early this morning just to tune my drums. Now, this is something that I hate doing. I know, it's horrible for me to say that. I'm a drummer, I can't hate something having to do with the drums. But I do! I've hated tuning drums for as long as I can remember. I love the end result, but I hate the process. So my question for you is, do you like tuning the drums? I know there are some people like you out there that dig tuning the drums, but there's a lot of other people like me that just would rather get to playing the drums. Put your answer in the comments section below and let's start a conversation about it. Our first question's from YouTube. Angelo Santoyo asks, what is the best way to strengthen your weak hand? The weak hand is a funny thing. I get this question a lot, and my answer is always the same. You have to prioritize that hand. Now, what does that mean? Well, by default, our strong hand, for me, that's my right hand. For some of you southpaws, that may be your left hand. By default, that hand is going to get more work than the others. Now, why is that? Because every one of my ride patterns, I'm playing with my right hand. Every one of my hi-hat patterns, I'm playing with my right hand. When it comes to leading with my double strokes, I'm going to naturally do that with my strong hand. So your right hand sometimes gets 3 and 4 times the amount of work that your left hand does. Think about it in the status of a gig. If I'm playing a 3 or 4 hour gig, and my right hand is playing all of my ride pattern notes, and my left hand is playing 2 and 4, for every 8 beats that my right hand plays, my left hand only plays 2. And we wonder why it's such a problem that our weak hand is not as strong as our strong hand. The issue is, how do we fix that? Whenever I was in college and I was fixing this for myself, I actually reversed my drum kit for a while and played everything left hand lead no matter how badly it sucked. Now that's a really painful and drastic way to do things. What I would suggest for starters is relegate 10 to 15 minutes at the end of your practice time where you can play open-handed if you have a right-handed setup. Play some simple grooves that you would usually play with a right hand lead, but now play them with your left hand leading. On top of that, any of your exercises or fills that you're used to starting with your right hand, start them with your left hand. What this does is this starts to prioritize that hand and you're playing more with that hand instead of with the other hand. By default, that's gonna make it better. If you're interested in a short program as well without sounding too sales pitchy, go to my website. I have a weak hand boot camp. All of the downloads are 50% off now through the holiday season. So that's my gift to you, but that will help you. It's a 30-minute program that you can run through every day. On Instagram, It's Only Manson asks, what exercises should I do to promote left hand movement? By left hand movement, he's meaning left hand movement around the drum set. I totally get it. This can be a big issue. The first thing I would start with is I would start with your setup. Break your drum setup down to just your kick and your snare, and then add the toms one at a time, starting with the high tom. Now what we're focused on with starting with that high tom is making sure that not only your right hand goes smoothly in between that tom and the snare, but also that your left hand goes smoothly in between that tom and the snare. Add 1 tom at a time until you've got all 2 toms or all 15 toms if you're Neil Peart. Now the next thing I would do is take simple exercises. So I'm going to be taking just doubles in each hand, right, right, left, left. And I'm going to start with the high tom, and I'm going to go from high tom to snare. So right on high tom, right on snare, left on high tom, left on snare. Do this super slow, focusing on the movement going in between those 2 voices. And once you get done with that, you're not done with the high tom. Next, you're going to take and you're going to start on the snare now, because it's a different movement going from the tom to the snare than it is going from the snare to the tom. So we're going to start over and go snare, tom, left hand snare, left hand tom. Do that with every one of your voices and the snare drum, including the cymbals. Once you're done with that, then we're gonna go to the high tom, and I'm gonna go in between the high tom and my second tom or floor tom if you don't have a second rack tom. I'm gonna do that with my right hand doubles and then with my left hand doubles. This is just a simple way of working out the mechanics of going in between these voices. You should do this with every voice on the kit, as many combinations as you can come up with, especially if the combination is hard. On Facebook, Christo Young asks, what music notation software do you use to write out your sheet music? And then he adds a virtual high five at the end. Christo, I use MuseScore. I have for years. MuseScore is free and it's open source. They're constantly bringing updates, and I believe in using it for one reason. I go around and talk to drummers, musicians, elementary schools, high schools, middle schools, universities, and I tell them all the same thing. You don't have to have big, expensive equipment to get started. I've written all 3 of my books on MuseScore, as well as sheet music for over 500 lessons in the live lesson area, as well as sheet music for all of my downloadable series, and all of the sheet music that comes in my email lessons. Now, some of you music snobs may be saying, oh, you just don't know how to use Finale. And I would say you are very wrong. I know how to use Finale well. I used it all through college. I wanted a way to show musicians that you don't have to have a lot of money to start a career or do what you love. There's some things I love about MuseScore, there's some things I don't like. There's some things I love about Finale, and there's some things that I don't like. But in the end, I don't want to be a hypocrite, and I really do believe in the software. It's really powerful, and if you learn it, it can do anything you need it to. And one last question from YouTube. Van Halen Shredder asks about my Can You Drum video, which was a video that I put out last Wednesday, and all I did was drum on some things that I found around the kitchen, mostly cans. He asked, how long did this take from idea to production? I honestly don't know. A couple of hours? If you add up all the time that I thought about it, then the time I had to go to the store, and can testing at a store, which if you've never taken your wife can testing at a store, it's a great activity that will really test the bounds of your relationship. Then I had camera angles, coming up with the ideas, so yeah, a few hours from beginning to end. That'll do it for Diddles and Beats this week. Don't forget, everything in the download store is 50% off for a very short time. If you haven't already, go sign up for the email list, download the free 30 Days to Better Doubles program, jump over to Instagram where we're doing 1 for 100, one sticking, one video a day for 100 days, or jump on Facebook and Twitter and talk drums with us. If you like the drums and you like improving on the drums, you may dig what I do over on the website. Jump over, take a tour of the members area and see how many lessons we have with sheet music and how many tools we have to help you improve as a drummer. Tune in later this week for a special Christmas video Wednesday, and on Sunday we've got another lesson coming to you.